Okay, stop looking at my bum. So, first of all, at least my tinfoil hat won't give me myocarditis. My friend Harvey sells them at wideawake.clothing. Check him out. He's also Wide Awake Media on Twitter. So, I bump into a lot of people. They want to ask me, why do I support the mass killing of children in Gaza? And I try and explain the abstract concepts that lead to the IDF's extreme firepower philosophy in terms of the Gaza war. And rewinding slightly, just to give you a personal anecdote, I started court proceedings. I didn't want to. I think life is best handled by yourself without, please sir, can you help me? But I was in a desolate place and I started court proceedings, family court, to see my children again. And that was around the start of October. And if you're a dad or even a mother who's had to go through that, you know how much it can devastate you. And then I turn on the news on October the 7th. Not late in the day, about 10 a.m. here in the UK. And already the videos coming out of Gaza of babies, toddlers, little red-headed toddlers being taken with their mother and father. In the case of Kfir Bibas, little 10-month-old baby who's, if he's still alive, he's just over a year old now. His father, Mr. Bibas' mother, and his brother Ariel and Kfir. Kfir means lion cub, son of a lion. It's funnily enough, in Greek we have Leonidas, which is my firstborn's name. And no, I didn't name him after watching the movie with Gerard Butler. I read up about the history of it, and there was a book called Persian Fire that talked about the many Persian attempts to invade Europe by way of Greece, and I found it a very inspiring story. I always felt it was a strong name. So anyway, Kfir Bibas, it's all relevant. Me missing my children, but knowing they're with a loving parent, and knowing I will see them again, that the good times will come and it's going to be okay. But there's hundreds of families in Israel who they don't know if they're ever going to see their babies again. And who didn't break down a little bit when the little 8-year-old girl who was released by Hamas, when her father screamed at the camera that he wished she was... Rewind. When he was told that she was amongst the dead, he thanked God because he was worried about his little Jewish daughter in the hands of terrorists and rapists and underground tunnels. There's never any easy way to talk about your own children or kidnapped children. But people, and like many of the families of the hostages in Israel, are very angry at the ruling party in Israel and the Prime Minister, Bibi, because they correctly want their loved ones brought home. But I think every reasonable person in the world wants the hostages brought home safely. But the moment it happened, and I follow the Middle Eastern politics with interest. I think it's a very dark yet fascinating subject. I've lived in the Middle East for 6, 7 years. I lived there in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and when we were very young, a little bit of time in Dubai, but mostly Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. And so I know a little bit about the Middle East, and I think that the way the IDF went about it in terms of peace through superior firepower, through absolute shock and awe, was the correct way to go. the only way the Israelis could have fought, and fought righteously, and this is going to sound insensitive, but I think those of a war disposition may know what I mean. The only way to fight an enemy with hundreds of your hostages, and their calculation is that you won't dare try and bomb them or attack them or kill them, because they're holding your babies against their chests. And it's bad enough that Hamas used the Gazan people as human shields, but now they were holding Israeli Jewish people, even Thai people. I think there's a couple of Kenyans in there, just workers, poor guys. But the only way to proceed when your enemy has done that, you have to, unfortunately, and this is going to sound brutal, but you have to unfortunately act militarily as if those hostages are already dead. Any other way, obviously you try and get intelligence to rescue them. You don't, if you know where they are, you don't bomb that house. You're not crazy, but your overall, the modus operandi of your war invasion of Gaza, you have to act as if all 250 of them already dead, already buried, gone. Hamas were not counting on the Israelis to act with such force, almost like a cosmic level of firepower we saw, and Hamas got that wrong. They were. I'm sure they were arrogant. They truly believed that with 250, 300 hostages, the Israelis would be paralyzed in fear. But this is the group of people that survived the Holocaust, that knows how bad it can get, that sees ordinary young men put on a uniform and happily herd toddlers, babies, children into a gas chamber or in front of a hole dug in the ground, as we saw across Eastern Europe. Bullet in the back of that. Oh yeah, look at that. What drives a normal guy? He was probably a fucking bus driver. Hey Vlad, yeah, you're a bus driver. Oh look, put this uniform on and go and... What drives people to do that? And now, obviously it's ideology, isn't it? It's ideology. Hamas and the Gaza Strip is a whole area the size of Greater London. It's not a tiny open air prison. It's not. It's a big area. Like the border with Israel is about 50 miles, 70 kilometers, and with Egypt, 25 kilometers of border, 30 kilometers of border. It's not an open air prison, like, you know, where there's nowhere to run. Greater London is a big area, and so is Gaza. How many hostages have been returned? Maybe half of them alive. And I think the only reason why Hamas returned the hostages, because those are golden eggs. Those are literal giant diamonds that Hamas thought they had. But they were in their hubris, the arrogance, the savage arrogance. Oh yeah, the Israelis will never bomb us because we've got their children. And Israel acted as if all those children were already dead. So Hamas was, oh shit, these grannies, these children, we're looking bad in front of the whole world. It's not slowing down the Israelis. It's not slowing down their special forces. We've lost a third of our Hamas fighters. Give them back. And when they started the mass release of the hostages, I knew in my heart that they wouldn't have done that without the so-called brutality of the Israeli Defense Forces. And there was that 20-year-old girl, she had a broken arm, she got operated on by a vet. She was one of the she was dancing, not a dancer, scrub that. She was dancing at the Nova Festival, I think. Or was she taken from a house? Anyway, you know the blonde girl with the blue eyes. She said that every time she heard an Israeli bomb fall near her or far away, she went like, yes, internally, like they've not forgotten me. They're literally scorching the earth to try and rescue me. They're denying the Hamas psychological advantage of holding these babies and grannies. And so around the same time I was needing to go to court to start proceedings, Because sometimes in our life, people hold things against us irrationally. And there's whole ideologies of unreason dominating this world. And I felt ashamed for my tears about my children when just a few hundred miles away, people's children being disposed of like cattle in an abattoir in the kibbutzes. An orgy, a kind of fevered, excited orgy of infanticide, of murder, mass murder. The stories of 95-year-old Holocaust survivors that survived Dachau or Auschwitz being executed, murdered by some overexcited 21-year-old Hamas UN relief agency worker who today he's Hamas, yesterday he was UNRWA, United Nations Refugee Relief, special Gaza thing. Imagine that, you're 95 years old, you're like, survived the Holocaust, survived Hitler. And Hamas, it's not Hitler now, it's Hamas. Hail Hitler to hateful Hamas. Now, with the IDF overwhelming firepower on Gaza, there was unfortunately no other way to go about it. You're not dealing with a reasonable enemy. A reasonable enemy doesn't shoot babies in the face in their cot for no reason except that they're Jewish. Reasonable enemy doesn't take 250 hostages into tunnels. Doesn't massacre, doesn't genocide all the Jews near the border of Gaza. Reasonable people don't do that. So, as Elon Musk said in an interview about 2 months ago, it's obvious that with Hamas, all you can do is neutralize them, eliminate them. That's all you can do. Now, in Christianity, we have this idea of mercy and forgiveness. I know it's not unique to Christians, but I think the Christians do it quite well. But with forgiveness, there needs to be an understanding that you've done wrong, that you have been morally wrong. And one thing I will praise the Christians for, it seems to be the only religion. No, I know the Jews have it as well. Judeo-Christianity, well, we'll go there. Jesus was Jewish. Let's not deny that fact. Jesus Christ was Jewish. Judeo-Christianity may be the only ideology that makes you question that maybe you're a piece of shit. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe all the feelings you have in your... What if you're wrong? What if you're secretly, by accident, worshipping Satan when you think you're... So, Judeo-Christianity makes you really question yourself and to be humble. What if I'm a piece of shit? What if I'm a piece of shit and I'm sinful, angry, wrathful, envious, full of atavism and anger and hatred, you know? And if the people in Hamas and their financiers and all their cheerleaders in the West, you've seen many of them wearing their face covers. Thank you to the Twitter user who uncovered the Hamas supporters by showing their real faces. But if these people understood abstract concepts, and that's another reason why I support Israel, you can clearly see that their state, their country, is trying to uphold abstract concepts. Not tribalism, not my religion's better than yours, not my Messiah's better than yours, but justice, fairness, ethics, equal rights for people, whether you're gay, lesbian, or straight. The rule of law. Can you imagine, like this happened about 10 years ago, there was a overexcited Israeli soldier, there was a suicide bomber or stabber got neutralized and he was lying on the floor, dying. Overexcited young Israeli soldier comes and shoots him, bang, shoots him dead. He was arrested, went to court, was convicted and served many years in prison for killing a dying Hamas terrorist. Can you imagine Hamas doing that? No. And this is what I mean by abstract concepts of justice, fairness. On the face of it, you're like, oh, he was a jihadi scumbag, tried to kill all these people here in that nursery. I've shot him dead, I'm a hero. But an abstract concept is you don't execute your prisoner. You don't kill people when they're not a threat. Now, I know some of you will be screaming at the camera now saying, Charlie, how are those 30,000 Gazan children a threat? First of all, where are you getting these numbers from? From the Hamas Ministry for Truth? The Hamas Health Ministry that kept hostages in hospitals? That kept storing weapons and actually commanded some of the October 7th operations from those hospitals? Now you're telling me that we're going to believe Hamas, who loves a dead baby? Oh! There's no way to win this war without doing it the way Israel does it. And I was in Manchester yesterday on Saturday, and I was trying to have a discussion, and some friends I hadn't seen for almost a decade. No, Charlie, I can't believe you support Israel. Why do you support the bad guys? And I explained October the 7th, and I said how much it hit me. You know, and how there was a peace on October the 6th, and how a bad peace is better than a good war. Bad peace. Amazing. Peace. But he is an educated Arab man. He runs his own business here in Manchester. And he's like, no, Charlie, the IDF killed all their own people at the music festival in the kibbutzes. They came to try and kill Hamas, and they went overboard and they killed hundreds of Jewish civilians. The Israelis did it. And I said, no, I'm not going to name them, but I said, no, I've seen the videos, man. I've seen the CCTV in the kibbutzes. You know, RPG into a minibus with elderly people on it. Boom, they're all... And he's like, no, it's Israeli propaganda. There is a crisis in the world's main ideologies right now, and I've been developing a theory in my mind called narrative cohesion, and that when you're not supporting abstract concepts, truth, beauty, love, ethics, truth, beauty, and love, the holy trinity of reality, truth, beauty, and love, ethics, if you're not supporting that, and you're supporting the final word of God, we are perfect, this is a perfect word of God, everyone else is an infidel and an idiot, they should pay tax to it, we are perfect. That'll do well in the golden age when you're invading places and you're like, yay, you know, everyone's submitting to you. But when things don't start to go well, because you're not believing in abstract concepts, then instead of saying, oh, wait a minute, maybe we're wrong. You know how Judeo-Christianism goes, maybe I'm a piece of shit. Maybe I'm wrong. I should be humble. I'm a sinner. Maybe I'm a piece of shit. I'll never live up to Jesus. How dare I have these glories in my life? I'm not worthy of Jesus. But some other ideologies, perfect final revelation, final solution to mankind. And then you scrap, oh, their Messiah was a war general. There was 2 Jewish towns that refused to submit. What did he forgive them? No, he ordered every last man, woman, and child massacred. 2 Jewish tribes that refused to submit to this new Abrahamic religion. I think that's pretty much all I want to say. There is no other way Israel could have done this. For anyone in the West that thinks it's not a big deal, population-wise, it's the equivalent of 6,000 people being machine-gunned in central London. 6,000 people. It's like 2 9/11s. And for all the people calling for a ceasefire whilst the hostages are there, do you not see that Hamas is like a massive tumor, a cancer? And unless it's completely removed, the body's going to die. If we tolerate Hamas, if we stop the Israelis from finishing the job, which is the saddest job in the world, a fanatic death cult worshipping death, destruction, and evil, using 2.2 million civilians as human shields to cause more death and evil in their neighbors. very encouraging seeing videos coming out of Gaza of different factions attacking Hamas officers, fighting back. Who knows how that's going to play out, but the only people that want dead babies are Hamas, unfortunately, which is why they haven't given up, which is why they haven't given back the hostages. That's all I've got to say. Thanks for watching.